Hi, I'm Debbie Pokornik, and I'm here with my lovely friend Maggie Reigh. And Maggie and I have started to do some videos together in an effort to help people, but parents especially, to recognize the kinds of things that they might be struggling with at this time that aren't serving them. And so we've slowly come to the realization that what we're really doing is helping you to break through illusions. And when you really look at it, a lot, in fact, everything is, it's like a hologram. Everything is an illusion. And so we're not saying that to be flippant. We're not saying that to minimize what's going on in your world. But we're saying it because we want you to recognize that when you're really able to open your mind and start looking at things with fresh eyes from a fresh perspective, it can make a huge positive difference in your world. And that's really what we want to be part of, is helping you to create the absolute most extraordinary, wonderful existence you possibly can. So today we thought we would start out by talking a bit about worries. And actually not just worries. I'm feeling like we want to talk a bit about emotions and processing emotions and dealing with all those feelings that are coming up. So Maggie, I feel like I'd like to invite you to share a bit of your thoughts on this.
Well, I'm just thinking that when people first said to me, what do you mean everything is an illusion? Or, what is real? I want to be real. Let's make this real. Let's get down to the reality of things. And I don't like to be fake and I don't like to be false. And I just really want to say that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is that we do create our world because we have so many thoughts and so many stories that are going on that are often tethered to an emotion that we have been suppressing. That's how we create our world. And so I can give you an example of this that I think everybody can feel, and that is, let's take even an emotion like I'm suppressing jealousy, and I'm worried that my husband or my partner is not going to be mine forever and be true to me, and so I'm always suspicious of what they're going to be doing. So I'm always watching them. And so no matter where I go, I'm going to notice, oh, he talked to her. Oh, he talked to that. And I could get to the point where I'm checking, how does this coat smell? And, what's in his pocket? And I find this little box in his pocket and I could drive him crazy if I keep that story in my mind that he's got someone else going on because I'm worried.
You can push him away even.
That's exactly what happens. And that's what we're saying. That's how we project our thoughts and our emotions and our stories into our world. Because actually, we don't take in very much that's actually out there. I mean, I've heard anywhere from 0.00069% is what we take in from what is actually happening out there to 3%. Either way, it's not very much. And what we look for is what is resonant with our feelings, with our emotions. There's actually a connection between how we're feeling and a place in the brain that has us looking and deciding what we're going to latch on to. So that's what we mean when we say everything is an illusion, is that whatever's happening in here is actually generating our world.
Absolutely. We're creating our reality.
We are, and that's how we create it. And it took me a long time to understand that. But when I got it, I recognized how important it is to really be able to release my emotions. Because an emotion is thousands of times more powerful than a thought. And in our society, we've said over and over, well, just change your thoughts and you change your reality. No problem. Well, I know that we've had this conversation too before. We're both pretty intensely emotional people. And I know that all mothers can be intentionally emotional, fathers too sometimes. So when that emotion is so intense, it's really hard to just change my thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Well, and especially, and you know what, this is something I'm just learning, and I'm not going to muddy the waters with it, but I will tell you that I've just listened to the Untethered Soul, and the Untethered Soul has got me thinking and recognizing that it's quite possible none of my thoughts are mine. None of the thoughts in my head are mine. And that is a very different way to look at things. So we don't want to get into that now, because we want to talk about emotions and how to help you process emotions so that you can really be in that more balanced state where you're breaking through illusions and feeling really good about yourself with your kids, and able to help support them, and to be teaching this to your kids as well. Because I got to tell you, some of the stuff that you're going to learn, if you had known that when you were little, how different would it have made your life, right? And I know Maggie and I can both relate to that and think, wow, I mean, I'd be a totally different person if I had known when I was young how to really process my emotions, rather than stuffing them and not even really knowing that I was stuffing them, thinking that I was just being the bigger person, or thinking that I was biting my tongue in order to not start a fight with someone, or thinking that I was just being a little princess because I had been told, don't be a little princess, right? Which meant don't be sensitive. I'm a very sensitive person, and I didn't know that. So all of this kind of information helps you to awaken that part of yourself that is truly you, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. And, I actually think that thinking about understanding that our thoughts are not mine, but they're actually more like circulating in the biosphere around us, in the energy around us, because really they're not stored away in my head, in my brain. That doesn't even make sense. I also have a mental and an emotional body, and those energy, I mean, we've seen it, it's been photographed, it's absolutely true. I don't end here at my skin.
mm-hmm.
I continue on, and I have those. And I think understanding that those thoughts are out there, and the way that we attract them and the way they keep circulating inside of us is because we have an emotion that we have stuffed down, like holding that beach ball under the water and trying to keep it there and pushing it down, and it becomes a stuck emotion.
Mm-hmm.
That emotion in our body it's like, imagine that our body is the planet, and the emotion is the charge that we just stuffed down in there. And with that charge, it is literally magnetizing these thoughts that are circulating around and around and around. So we try to change all these thoughts, and they're going like this, but we're not shifting this emotion. So like one emotion can have thousands of thoughts circulating around it. In fact, David Hawkins in his book Letting Go says that an emotion or thoughts are just justifications for emotions. So then we see that if I'm holding an emotion and I'm pushing it down and I'm justifying it, I'm creating the stories and I'm projecting that into my life, and that's what becomes my life. And that's what we mean by that's the illusion, especially when we're holding these intense emotions that we don't want to have.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So how about we focus in on worry to start with? It's not that you have to use a different process for every emotion, but Maggie has a really great tool here that is specifically, you're going to teach it as in regards to worries. So think about the worries that you might be experiencing right now in your life. You might be worrying about work and whether or not you're going to get to go back to work. You might be worried because your kids are at home from school, and what's that going to mean to their education, and how's that going to affect them? Maybe you've got kids that are getting close to going to college, or maybe you start thinking about those things when your kids are way back in the early grades. But you might be worried about that. You might be worried because your partner maybe is going out to work, or you're going out to work and you're being exposed to people, and so there's that virus out there, and you just don't know. There's so many things that you might be worrying about right now. And so rather than pretend you're not worried, which a lot of us, I would say those of us that are consider ourselves a little more personally developed, will often think that, okay, I can't show that I'm worried. It's somehow bad or weak or wrong to be worried, you know. And it's not. It's just a feeling like anything else. So how do you deal with it? How do you process it? How do you get it out of your body?
Great question, because that's where we want to get it out of. Because when we get it out of there, remember, we're going to feel a tangible result, and we're going to release the charge that keeps those thoughts that I was just dizzy as you were talking about all those worrying thoughts. I can go into them too. I know that I've had that. So instead of focusing on what to do and how to fix and what all those worries out here, immediately, as soon as we notice that our worry has been triggered, take it to the body, go into the body. We did this last time, and I'd like to take a moment just for all of us to get centered in the body again and know that we're going to be working on the spleen meridian, like in the Chinese vibrational healing sounds and medicine. They focus on different organs, and worry is held in the spleen. And so that, and I can tell you right now that I know when I feel worry, when I go into my body and I close my eyes and I focus in on there, I have felt worry like a cellophane wrapper
Oh, yes.
stuck and glued all the way down to about my knees,
Mm.
just down this strip, down the front of my body. So I love this tool I'm going to share with you. It has changed my life.
Awesome.
Oh, so we're just going to center in the body again. And we talked about this spot that's right here, I think, or we've at least focused on it internally. You can also press it here, and that's actually the Sea of Tranquility. So if we press into that spot, we can start the process of calming ourselves down. We've been triggered by worry. We're going to bring our thoughts inside. Just close your eyes now. Turn your attention in as much as you can and realize your job is to focus on releasing what's happening in your body. So just breathe, and you might feel, if you've been training yourself with this spot, you might feel some immediate kind of release coming. If not, don't worry about that. Just breathe in deep and breathe right down into the belly. And you can release that into the earth. We talked about grounding. We're going to build on the tools we've used. Down into the earth. Let that go. And then really feel yourself sink into the earth and bring it up through the roots of your feet. Breathe into the belly again. And then release it through the crown of your head and feel yourself entering, going right through your heart, through your throat, through the brain, out the top of your head. And then bring it in again. And now just focus on where you're feeling that worry. As I said, I pretty much always feel worry right down the center of my body somewhere, but you might feel it somewhere else. So wherever you feel it is perfect for you. Just feel the worry and breathe. And know that this alone is going to help to release it. If you just allow it, now you've turned your attention in, just allow yourself to feel it, get curious about how it feels. How deep is it in the body? How extensive is it? What's the density? Is there a color? Keep feeling into it. Okay, so now that you've got that, what you're going to do is you're going to plant your feet firmly on the floor, and this is best done standing up. So I invite you to stand up and plant your feet firmly on the floor. Put your arms out, pointing at 45-degree angles toward the ground. Your head is held by that ribbon of light. Feet, your knees are soft. And we're going to use the sound of O. as we vibrate it all the way, as much as we can, just imagine it vibrating around the spleen and up and down the central meridian. So just nice deep breath in and vibrate. Oh. Vibration is most important. Do it again. A nice deep breath in. This time I want you to imagine yellow sunlight streaming through the top of your head, filling your whole body, especially that central meridian, and go, breathe in again, nice and deep. Now bring in the quality of openness. Just feel it. Oh. And then just return your attention back to your body, relax, and notice. Notice what's going on in your body now and just be with it. You can bring your attention back to your heart center, put your fingers there, and just breathe. And that's pretty much it. You can do that as many times as you want to do that. Sometimes I have to do that several times. And I'll tell you, the funny thing about this is that one time I thought I had broken something in somebody's motorhome, and I thought I was in trouble because I'd plugged in the big vacuum cleaner to it, and the motorhome, all the power blew, and I blew my vacuum cleaner, and I'm going through like the biggest thing. Oh my God, I'm going to be in trouble now. I'm going to be in trouble. That's my worry. And that's the worry we place in our kids too, by the way. You know, you're going to be in trouble because, so it's that worry. And I did this about 2, maybe 3 times, the full thing, just as we did. And as soon as I finished, I realized I wasn't going to be in trouble. And I went out, and both the motorhome power and the vacuum cleaner worked.
Oh.
I literally all my circuits with the worry, and it released. So that's, I'm just curious about what happened for you in that experience.
Mm-hmm. You know, I always find that anytime I do something that really gets things vibrating, that the resonance of that is just so incredibly powerful. So I found it felt very nice. I am not currently dealing with a lot of worries. So I can't say that it was a huge difference for me worry-wise, but I can certainly see how beautiful and powerful that would be, especially for somebody who is feeling very worried at the moment.
Yeah, it's a wonderful toning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that worry is my biggest bugaboo. That's what trips me up all the time. I can go into a worry really, really easily. I can spin there. So sometimes I just do it because it feels good.
Nice. So, you know, that actually makes me think, I often, for many years now, I've taught people how to put things into a worry container. And you and I talked a little bit about it, because I was saying that, you know, I'm not sure if it aligns anymore with what what I understand now from the things that I'm learning and who I'm becoming as a person. And now, as I listen to you say that, I'm thinking, you know, I think it still does. And so I'm feeling like this could also be a really great tool, because it involves quieting your mind. And one of the things we have to do in order to quiet our mind sometimes is we have to get the thoughts out of there. And so this is basically a process where just close your eyes, and I want you to imagine that you have a container. And I usually imagine a velvet bag, but it could be a box or a trunk or whatever makes most sense to you. So picture a container. And then I just want you to try to go quiet. And whenever a thought comes up that is trying to get in the way, we always tell you to just let that drift off. Well, sometimes it doesn't want to drift off. So especially if it's a worry, I'd like you just to take it and put it in the bag. So see yourself putting it into that container. And understand that if you tell it to go into that container, it has to listen to you. So don't feel like, well, what if it won't listen? It will. Just notice as it comes up and put it into the container. And so what I usually have people do is I have them actually think about their worries. What are the things that are worrying you right now? If it's finances, let that come up. And as it comes up, put it into the bag or the container. If it's your kids and their school, let it come up, put it into the container. And continue to do this. For the sake of brevity right now, I'm going to take you through the rest of it. But if you were doing this because you had a lot of worries going on, then you would take the time and pull them all out. Pull them up. Think about them. Allow yourself to really notice what are the things that are worrying me. Put them into the container, and then when you're done, you can take that container and tie it up. If it's a box, you might duct tape it. If it's a trunk, you might put a lock on it. Whatever makes sense for you. And then take that container and stick it away in your mind's eye into a spot where you would like to keep it. So if it's a trunk, you might bury it in the sand on a desert island. You can do that. It's in your mind. You might stick it away in a closet. You might just have it disappear into the universe, but it's more like you've put the invisibility cloak on it. Okay? So that container is there. You're not getting rid of these worries, but you're just sending them off for a few minutes. Now just take a deep breath and notice. Feel the quietness in your mind. And if it's not quiet, if more things come up, send them to that container, because things can go in, but things can't come out. However, as Maggie said, we've got this story that goes on in our mind, so there can be lots of little fragments, little pieces of it out there. And then when you're done, you can take another deep breath, open your eyes, and that's your worry container. So it's something that you can go back to if you want to. If you want your worries, go back, open it up, bring them back out. I can't imagine why you would want them, but you can put anything you want in there that's causing you angst. And the whole purpose is to quiet that mind and allow yourself to get centered and feel that breath of fresh air. Any thoughts on that, Maggie?
Lovely. I put mine immediately, a hot air balloon popped into mine. So I just put it in the basket of the hot air balloon and sent it off to be recycled in the light of love, to
Nice.
transformed by that light of love. So that felt actually really good to do that. And I felt that if there were any more worries there, I would just vibrate them out.
Nice.
What I thought was that we could combine the two tools.
Yes.
And we
Absolutely.
could do this with children too. Have children vibrate them out, so they're and all of this stuff. But to listen to them, because that really reminds me how important it is to listen to our children and how important it is to listen to ourselves and not try to suppress those thoughts.
Absolutely. And with kids, I used to have them put their worries into a balloon and with helium, in their mind, and then watch it float off, the same kind of thing. So, if they're not ready to do a visualization with you, you could even, again, blend the two, have them put it into a balloon. Okay, I'm putting my worry in here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's vibrate it off and let it go. The whole idea, really, when it comes to any feeling, is to notice it. Notice where it is in your body and even allow it to expand in your body. And by that, I don't mean feeding the thought. Okay, this is not about the thought. This is about the emotion. So don't think of reasons that you have to be worried. Just feel the worry. Let it expand through your whole body. And then you can ask it. You can talk to it. You can say, worry, I see you, I feel you, I know you're here. Thank you. I no longer need you. And allow it to leave. Sometimes you might dance it out. You might get moving and just really dance and go, worries, getting rid of you. So all kinds of things can really help you, but the trick is always going to be to notice how you're feeling first so that you know to get rid of them.
Yes, and what you're really talking about is listening to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But when we've got children, we also want to listen to them
Oh,
and
yeah.
not dismiss their worries. Oh, that's nothing to worry about. It's actually, if something is really on their mind and they feel heard, just being able to express that worry is going to get that out. And so if we start arguing with it, they'll have to justify keeping it, which is going to make it worse for them.
Absolutely, because that's them feeding their worry. I've got to come up with all the reasons why I have this worry.
Yeah. So I get excited when I think about the potential for this as we come back to realizing if this had been there for us, if people had known how, and there's no blame. It's not like, oh, my parents, no, I love my parents. They did the best that they could. They're amazing parents.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that we didn't know how to deal with these emotions, which have been called by, the most powerful force in the universe. That's what Greg Braden said the ancients called them, the most powerful force in the universe. And yet we've got them stuffed inside. And something like worry can do so much damage. It damages our body. It damages our emotions. It damages our relationships. It damages our life. So what a change we can make when we feel that worry coming in and we know that there's a way to release it. Feels good.
It absolutely does. And, when we can really recognize that worrying is putting energy into something that hasn't yet happened, that might not ever happen, then it can really help us to recognize there's no use in me putting my energy there. I've only got so much energy to share. Why would I want to share it with worries?
And it's
So,
crazy to poison the
yeah,
only moment we have, which is right now, whether we're thinking about the past or the future, those are only thoughts, always in the now. So to fill the now with that kind of worry. So yes, here are some tools. Take these tools, see how they work. If you find more tools, if you find more ways to release them, share it. Don't keep it to yourself. Let us know. Let your friends know, because we can do a lot to help our planet, our children, ourselves by releasing the worry and setting that room for our vision of what we want to happen to come in. So we're going to focus on that which we want to break through and not worry about that, which is breaking down.
nice. On that note, we will see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.